Hey, and welcome to MFFLtv. I'm your host Dylan, and we're here for another live stream. It was just so fun yesterday. Want to start doing these more often. So shout out to Bob Ross, already the first comment saying first. Not sure if that's based on the title of the video or just saying first comment. Either way, love the support. So today's video, we're going to be talking about where will the Mavs place next season. Just a little prediction video. Still, I think it's a bit too early, but sort of just here to have fun. It is the off season, so why not? As well, if you're here, leave some comments. Let's have some fun. But also, I'm not sure how to edit on the live stream, so I'll just have to do a dramatic drum roll for each ranking. But starting off in the West, number 15, I think, is going to be Oklahoma City Thunder. They do have some nice pieces. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just drafted Josh Giddey, but I think they still need a bit more to compete in the West. They do have some nice pieces. I think they've just gone a bit too hard in the draft, so they just have to wait for the next 10 years to get their about 48 picks, and then we'll maybe see what they can be. Also, a little bit about Giddey. I am really big on this kid. I think he's going to be special. I know, he might be Australian bias, but he was in the NBL and was really good. Very athletic, really composed on the ball, good playmaker, good shooter. Don't know if anyone saw Australia's last preseason game before the Olympics, but he played against Nigeria, did a really good job. So I'm keen on this guy. I want to watch him play. It really sucks that he picked up an ankle injury so soon. As well as that, everyone knows about Shai. He's a stud. One of the big prospects in the league. Hopefully can see what he becomes over the next few years. But as of now, I do have them 15th. So 14th, I might change this later on. But as of now, I think I've just been disappointed by this team for too many years now. So I'm going with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have a lot of talent. They got D'Lo, Cat, Anthony Edwards. I haven't heard about Malik Beasley, but I just think, I don't know, the lack of defense on that team, I think between D'Lo and Cat, I've just been disappointed by them too many times, and I don't want to rank them too high this time. But, they do also have young prospects like a lot of other teams. Anthony Edwards looked really good. Okogie looked good. But yeah, I don't see them doing much. Highest I have them is maybe 12th, 11th if they have a good season, but I can't see them doing much more. So moving straight on, got 13. Honestly, this team, I have no idea how they're going to go. They've lost a lot of players, but it's the San Antonio Spurs. Maybe that Dallas rivalry, I want them to do a bit worse than what they will. But, they lost DeRozan, Patty Mills, Rudy Gay. So I'm not really sure how they're going to go. They do have some good young players, although DeJounte Murray looks like he's on the trading block. If they trade him, I'll have to see what they get in return. But even with him, can they do much better than 13? Don't have much talent. I'm really only just putting him 13 because Popovich usually does always make players play a bit better, so he can maybe rise them a little bit, but I don't really see them doing too much. So I initially had a plan. I think I'm going to change that right now. I'm sort of bigging up one team more than I probably should, so I'm going to leave them for later. So I'm going to drop number 12 to the Pelicans. Yes, they got Zion. Do I think he's amazing? Yes, like everyone knows. But, they did lose Lonzo Ball. I think he was a huge piece. I know Zion was kind of the primary playmaker throughout a lot of that season. But, losing a secondary creator like Lonzo, he became a really good three-point shooter. So I'm not exactly sure. I think they're not going to do that well. Yes, they got Jonas Valanciunas, but is he the perfect piece next to Zion? I'm not sure. They're both very similar in terms of what they can do offensively. Like, they both need to be around the paint. Don't get me wrong, they're going to be a really tough team. They're going to be a really grindy team to beat. Really physical, brutal down low. Ingram's a stud, but I just don't think they have enough pieces to compete in the West night in, night out. Can that change? Obviously, we still need to see what they're going to do. I'm not a huge fan of Bledsoe, but I think he's still another player that they lost, and it probably won't help. Uh, so I'm just not really high on them as of now. But let's just give me 1 second break. Got to quickly turn on. You're not really an influencer until you have influencer lighting, so I guess I got to do it. But back to where I was. Pelicans, I think they're going to be a tough team to beat on any night. I think they just maybe struggle in the fourth quarter. Brandon Ingram looks like their closer. I'm not sure how many nights he's going to be able to get that done. However, another really exciting team. They did get Devontae Graham. Who is, really good in Charlotte, maybe with a bigger role can do something better. But, we'll have to see. So I have them coming 12th. 11th, I'm going with the Houston Rockets. That was a team I was going to initially put up a bit lower. I think, they do have a lot of prospects. And depending on the day, I might put them as high as maybe 10th or 9th. They do have John Wall, Porter Jr. They just drafted Jalen Green, who I think is an absolute stud. So also Christian Wood and Sengun, I think he can develop into something special. So I think, if John Wall can stay healthy, I think they can definitely do something. Can they really compete in the West? I'm not too sure. But, they definitely got some cool, good pieces. Wood as well really impressed last season. Kevin Porter Jr. as well. He averaged about 17 points, 7 assists as a shooting guard. So that's definitely a team to watch. I just don't know as well. I think a lot of other teams are a bit more stacked, maybe a bit better bench, and I think that will help them through the regular season. But again, another really tough team in the West. I feel like the West is a lot easier than it's been before in terms of like top heavy. Yes, there's the Lakers, but they need to still figure things out. And I think there's probably the weakest Western Conference it's been in a while. We sort of grown accustomed to that Lakers team, the Golden State with Kevin Durant, and the West was really unwinnable. I think this is the first time in a long time where a lot of these teams are very close. There's not much between them. I think it's just a little bit of basketball savviness, IQ, defense, and just closing out games that's really going to determine a lot this season. But yeah, I think the Rockets maybe could fight for a play-in if everything goes well, but I'm going to have them where I have them just for now. Then moving on to number 10, I'm going with the Clippers. No Kawhi for the whole regular season. I just don't think that they're going to be able to be that good for the whole duration. Yes, they looked good at spurts during the playoffs, but can Paul George really carry this team in a tough Western Conference the whole season? I wouldn't bet on it. Also, Reggie Jackson came alive in the playoffs. Can he do that for a whole regular season? It's tough to say. So, as well, Terrence Mann looked good. They do have some bright spots. I just don't think they're stacked enough to really compete in the West. They could always come up better. Paul George, if he regains his Indiana form or something like that, or he's close to MVP form, then it's going to be tough. But I just don't see them doing much better than 10 at the moment, especially with no Kawhi. Haven't really added many pieces. I think they got Justice Winslow, and that might be it if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not too high on them. But so those are the 10. So now we're getting into like the higher ranks in the West. If you're here, leave a comment as well. Let's have some fun. Sort of just, in the off season, trying to get through it until Mavs basketball officially begins. So number 9. As well, I'm going to change this on the fly. I'm really high on this other team, so I'm going to go down and say the Grizzlies will come 9th. I think losing Valanciunas will be a huge loss for them. He averaged 17 and 12, I think, so he's a monster. Very physical, sort of reminds you of that old grit and grind Grizzlies time. And I really don't know if losing him... I know they got Steven Adams, who's also a tough player. but he doesn't give him that offense the same way Valanciunas does. So I just wonder how that will go. But yeah. So that's where I think they're lost. I would rank them a bit higher, but I just think they've lost out quite a bit. They do have a lot going for them. Ja Morant, another stud. The West is loaded with really good point guards, and Ja Morant I think, is going to be one of the best point guards in the league soon. As well as that, they got Justin Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks. So, they got some players. Do I think that they're going to be able to close out games as well? That's the thing. I don't know if they have enough closers to really be able to win consistently and get a higher ranking. But it also depends. Zaire Williams looked like a good prospect. Can he develop into something in his rookie season? Maybe, maybe not. He might need a few years to develop into something special. But another guy with good potential. Grizzlies will always be a good team to watch out for just because of Ja Morant. Anytime you got a player that good, he's worthy of keeping your eyes on him. So he is definitely one to watch. So top 8. This used to be what really mattered, but now the play-in sort of diminishes it a little bit. But you still got home court advantage, so finishing top 8 is definitely going to be huge in the play-in tournaments. For me, huge risk. Don't even know what I'm really thinking at the moment, but I'm going Sacramento Kings. De'Aaron Fox as well, sort of like Ja Morant, I think is one of the best up-and-coming point guards in the league. He's an absolute stud. Not only that, I think Kings are really deep. They have a lot of players. It depends what they do with Buddy Hield. Depends what they'll do with Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley. Will they trade him? They seem unhappy at the moment. If they can convince them to stay and sort of rejuvenate their career, then I think they'll be really good. They do have Tyrese Halliburton. They just got Davion Mitchell, re-signed Holmes, Harrison Barnes. So they are a very deep team. Buddy Hield, one of the best shooters in the NBA. So if they keep him, I think they can definitely do something. And can De'Aaron Fox take that next step to becoming a borderline all-star? Maybe be on the fringe, maybe a notable honoree. Sacramento is definitely a good team, and I think they're one to watch out for. So I'm going to have them being 8th. Also, Matrix. Hope they'll not reach the playoffs. Are you talking about the Mavs? Because that's rough, man. Come on. This is a Mavs channel. Let's show some love to the Mavs. Also, I'm keen to know, who do you go for? But shout out anyway, even if you're not a Mavs fan. Whatever. Thanks for being here. 7th in the West, I'm going with Portland. As of now, Damian Lillard's on the team, so I'm going to assume that he's there. Everyone knows about Dame. He's one of the best players in the league. I think their one weakness is their defense, especially in the backcourt with McCollum and Lillard. Together, I don't know who they're really going to be able to stop, but they'll be able to put up points with the best of them. I just think for Portland as well, they really haven't gotten better this offseason. They did re-sign Powell. They lost Melo, who at times was very good for them. So, I don't know. They're not blowing me away. I sort of have them very close to where they finished last season. Not really any better, not much worse. It depends. If they do, maybe get Ben Simmons, I'd probably put them a bit lower. But I think that could be better for them long term. At least they can try and build around Simmons. Lillard doesn't seem like he really wants to stay there. Seems like he's just been a bit too hard about wanting to be loyal to a team so much that he's resisted about requesting a trade. But, Portland's always going to be a tough team. Lillard, everyone knows about Dame time, so it's going to be really hard to close them out in games, especially if it's close. But with the lack of help, I think it's going to be hard for Damian to carry this team much higher than 7th. And here we go. This is going to be a little bit controversial. Just out of the play-in, I'm going with the Los Angeles Lakers. I know a lot of people are really high on them. I think, we've seen in the past with Westbrook, it's taken about half a season to really be able to mold into the team. So I think that's going to be tough straight away. They're also an aging team, so I expect them to load manage a lot. Don't know who's going to be playing the load of the minutes during the regular season. But also, they have nothing to prove during the regular season. Everyone knows LeBron's one of the best of all time. Anthony Davis is an absolute stud as well. So I don't see them really going hard in the regular season. It means nothing. The playoffs is what it's all about. So that's where I expect them to make some noise. Maybe, depending on the matchup as well, that's where I expect them to play their best. For the regular season, I think they're going to be fine. They'll cruise to a playoff spot probably. I think Westbrook's going to carry. They have picked up some good players off the bench as well. They are a bit older, so it's going to be hard to see where they go. But yeah, I got Lakers coming 6th as well. Let me know what you guys think, what your predictions are. But probably some people will be a bit annoyed that I put Lakers so low, but it's not a Lakers channel, so whatever. Also, I'm assuming a lot of you have noticed I haven't said the Mavericks yet. Will I say them first? We'll have to see. This will be unbiased to an extent, but we'll see how it goes. So 5th, I have the Denver Nuggets. No Jamal Murray. I think that's going to be a huge loss for them for most of the season. I don't know. I can't see them doing much better than 5th, to be honest. They have Jokic, who is one of the best in the NBA, coming off the MVP. So I don't know if he's got enough around him to be one of the top 4 in the West. He obviously is one of the best players in the NBA, but you need more than that, especially it's not a top-heavy Western Conference, but as I said, a lot of teams are really good and can challenge for top spots. So I think you do need a lot more than just Jokic. I know that they have Michael Porter Jr., who's really good. They got Aaron Gordon as well, who's very inconsistent. He's very athletic, good defender. But I often want to see more from him to really be able to know that they deserve to be higher up on the list. However, that being said, they did pick up Jeff Green, who I think is a huge bonus for them. We saw him for Brooklyn. He played really good coming off the bench, being that veteran presence, just putting up shots. I think he's going to be a really good boost coming off the bench. So Matrix Burzen said, Mavs' problem is that they did almost nothing in the summer by free agency. Look like best wide move will be for Laurie Markkanen, but Laurie will not do much for the Mavs. Yeah. Well, thanks for wishing the Mavs luck. I know they haven't done much. I think as well, with the high hopes all the Mavs fans have, we are definitely disappointed. As well, with Cuban saying we've considerably improved, bit of a slap in the face. I definitely think we have improved. I've been a huge fan of Bullock for a long time now. I think he's a very good piece for a lot of teams. He's someone that's just, tough, good defender. He's a good three-point shooter, can run off screens, can relocate. So I think he's someone that can, create this space for Luka. He's not that secondary playmaker we've often been talking about, but I think, he's a really good player. He's no all-star. He's not going to change the landscape of the NBA by no means. But I think we have gotten a little bit better. Sterling Brown as well can be a good piece off the bench. Maybe sort of be like what we expected from JJ Redick. Come in, green light for the 3, make some shots. I think he can fill that in pretty well. Has looked like he's got potential to be a 3-and-D player as well. There's another long, lengthy guard off the bench. And honestly, I think that's something we've been missing. So I think he can be crucial to the bench. But look, I agree. I think we definitely haven't done enough, especially in this West where I think it's really gettable. We saw Phoenix have a good run. I think Mavs could do something similar with just one more piece, to be honest. I know a lot of people are saying we need that secondary scorer. I don't really agree. I think we need more of a playmaker type, sort of a Ricky Rubio, someone that can come in, get others involved, because we definitely got other people that can score. We got Tim Hardaway Jr., Porzingis. Both guys can get about 20 a night. As well, we got Brunson off the bench, Bullock now. We have guys that can score. I just think besides Luka, we need people that can get them involved in the game. But I know, a lot of people think that they need a secondary scorer. I disagree. It doesn't look like we're really going to get anyone. If we do get Markkanen, That would be a huge bonus, I think. He's something we don't really have off the bench, who's a big, can just light it up. Yes, Maxi's a good shooter, but he doesn't take enough shots. He's not really a scorer. He's more of just a complete-ish basketball player that you need in your rotation. Whereas Markkanen, I think, can come on, be that sixth man, play a few minutes with KP maybe in a zone so that they don't get exposed on defense too much. But I think that would be a really good plus for them. If they could get a Markkanen and a Rubio, I think that would be really good. Dragic as well, I think would be perfect, but seems like Toronto want a bit too much for him. Don't know how we'd be able to get that over the line. Or, maybe a potential Dennis Smith Jr. reunion could be fun if it works out. We'll have to see. At the moment, Mavs do have 15 players already, so they'll need to get rid of some people before they can bring him in. But I think Dallas have options. The offseason definitely hasn't finished. However, I'm going to get back to the list. Got a bit distracted, but I love all your comments, so please make sure to keep going. Number 4, I think a lot of people might disagree with this. They could definitely finish higher, but it depends on health. I'm going with the Golden State Warriors. Yes, they have Clay back, but how will Clay be after 2 really bad injuries back-to-back? We all know he's going to be able to shoot the ball well, but how is his defense? That's one thing I'm going to be keen on. We all know he was a really good defender, especially during Golden State's peak. With those injuries, will he be able to move laterally as well? I don't know. I have to wait and see. They also did lose Pascal for nothing, who I thought was a pretty good player they could use in their rotation. They lost Kelly Oubre. Oubre was never really a great fit for them, but still talented player. I think they still will finish good even if Clay doesn't play to the previous level, just because, they still got Curry, still got Draymond. They got a couple new good rookies in Kuminga and Moses Moody, I believe. As well, Wiseman's another good prospect. Don't know if he's ready to be that starting center, but I think when you have enough talent around him with like Wiggins, Curry, Draymond, definitely not in that order, you can get away with it. He'll be open for some oops. Sort of just there to be a rebounder and a shot blocker and finish things around the basket. But he's not someone that can really take the team to the next level from what I've seen so far. I know that's not his role, but I think that might be the one weakness in their team. So as well, rookies, will they be there when the season starts? That's a big thing as well. There's speculation of a trade, so we'll have to see what happens. I'm not too sure. I can't see them keeping them. The players they drafted are very prospect-type players. Not sure if they'll be able to come in and put a huge impact right away. And that's something you want, especially with Curry aging, signing that huge extension. Is that what they really want, or would they try and package Wiseman and 2 rookies, maybe get a star in? There are reports of Ben Simmons. I know a lot of people have been low on Ben Simmons, myself included, especially after he didn't play for Australia. But I think Ben Simmons could really do a good job in Golden State, sort of play like that prime Draymond Green role, play that pick and roll with Steph Curry. As soon as Curry gets trapped, give it to Ben Simmons, and he has to play 4-on-3. I think he's definitely perfectly suited to that. Not expected to shoot, just be a playmaker. And, he just really needs to improve his free throws. And I think if that was to happen, then I'd definitely have Golden State higher than they are now. But trade hasn't happened yet, so I can't say it. So as of now, the way the roster is, I expect Warriors to finish 4th. Now 3rd, the Dallas Mavericks. I really want to put them first just because I'm always biased and hopeful. But, I think 3rd would be really good. I think that'd be a lot higher than a lot of other people have them anyway. Look, they have Luka Doncic, so whenever you have him, you're going to be one of the top competing teams. As well, I know everyone says it's been harped on way too much now, but Porzingis, he's had a healthy offseason. Can he take that next level that we've seen before? He averaged 20-9 last season, and that was a season where a lot of people gave him hate. So, if that's what his bad season is, if he can take just one more step, I think that could be a really huge addition, especially in the regular season. As well, I expect Tim Hardaway Jr. to hopefully start more consistently now. I do feel really bad for him. I think his role has just changed too often, and I think that's why he gets labeled inconsistent. I think it's hard to put up certain points every game when you don't know when you're going to play, how many touches you're going to get. Uh, Sometimes he was the sixth man, sometimes he started. Sometimes when he started, he wouldn't touch the ball for a long time because Luka had it. So I think it's hard to, really build your rhythm in that inconsistency. So I think if Kid does put his spot in place, doesn't mix it around too much, I think we can see a really good Tim Hardaway Jr., similar to what we saw in the postseason. Just a lights out shooter. He can just pull up over anybody, even with a hand in his face. So I think that's definitely a huge plus for the Mavs if he can finally start kicking consistently. I don't think he was inconsistent out of his own doing. I think that's just been a tough situation. So I think he's definitely got that ability to do that. As well, a lot of people say he's just a three-point shooter. I don't think so. He can put the ball on the floor and shoot mid-range. A lot of people are not fancy that shot, but he's good at it. I think he can hit that. He's shown glimpses of just attacking to the basket and dunking on people. I think if he can do that more as well and really change up his offense, keep the defense guessing about what he's going to do, I think that'd be really good and really good for the Mavs as well. Like I said before, Reggie Bullock, definitely an upgrade on Josh Richardson. Yes, he wasn't great in the playoffs as well. He didn't make many shots for New York. But I think as well, he's going to get easier shots in Dallas. With Luka feeding you, you're going to be wide open. All you got to do is just focus on hitting it. Don't really even need to focus about defense on you. So I think he's going to be a huge plus. I think the fans will love him as well. And I think he's one of those guys who will play really good at home with the fans backing him. Hopefully he can carry that onto the road as well. As well, they did get Brown, who I mentioned earlier, can sort of be that JJ Redick, just come off the bench, hit threes, don't need to do much else. But I think a huge thing is, Jason Kidd. There's those reports coming out about what he was like in Milwaukee. Jared Dudley did come out and say that he thought Jason Kidd was a tremendous coach and was really inspirational for Giannis and Middleton and really laid the groundwork of a championship team. So it's hard who to believe. Dudley was in the locker room. The person who wrote the book, it wasn't Giannis who wrote the book. I think that was often misconstrued. So I don't know. Was he a tough coach? Probably. Was that how he was coached? Probably. So he will have to maybe learn from that, especially in today's era. However, I think, he's a really good players coach. He was really good at developing young players. So I think he can be someone who can really transform this team. And it's always good to get a new voice in the locker room. I love Carlisle, but sometimes after too many years with the same coach, you stop listening, you start getting a bit too comfortable with your role. And I think that new voice always gets a bit of a boost, as you can see with what the Hawks did last season. So I really expect Jason Kidd to come in and, bring a spark to this team. Hopefully he can have KP firing, put him in positions to succeed. Maybe not have him post up too much, but play some more pick and roll. Maybe build that chemistry between Luka, and I think if that happens, KP can be really big for us. I think a lot of people are not taking him seriously anymore. If he can just stay healthy, big if, but with Jason Kidd, I think that would be really good for him. I think he's someone sort of like Middleton was with Milwaukee, can't speak apparently, who can really just, make his development, take him to the next step. So, Matrix Burzens, love the comments. I hope KP will return this season with good health and with good stats like in playoff bubble. But sometime I hope Mavs will trade him to Golden State for Wiggins and Wiseman. Really? Are you a Warriors fan by any chance? Or I would like Wiggins. I'm not huge on Wiseman. I think he could be good for the Mavs. But I think KP's potential is something that you can't really get rid of for someone of Wiggins' capability. I like Wiggins, but I think I think KP is the best player in that bunch, and sometimes you just need talent and just let that talent peak at the right time. As well, KP and Luka have been playing for a couple seasons, so hopefully he can click this season. I think if Porzingis is healthy, that puts a lot of doubt out of my mind, and I think he will have a good season. A lot of people forget he's 7'3", he's a great three-point shooter, can be a lob threat, so he can do many things around the basket as well. So I think he'll be having a big season. Let's keep going with the comments. I love KP, and that's why I think Luka plus KP is not working, but maybe Jason Kidd will prove me wrong. That's sort of what I'm hoping as well. A lot of the reports coming out is Jason Kidd's a player's coach, except for the whole book that sort of put a bit of a doubt in that. But, LeBron loves him. Anthony Davis loves him. A lot of the Lakers were really big fans of him. So if he can sort of, get KP and Luka connecting, I think Mavs can take that next step. So I completely agree with you. KP this summer not even helping his national team to only stay healthy and can prove that Mavs fans are wrong about that he is expensive bust. Completely agree. I think a lot of people have been really hard on him. Was the playoffs really his fault? I'm not sure. I think he had 2 bad games and then was completely iced out of the offense. And I think other people would be given more chances, especially after finishing the season with 20-9. His field goal percentage was very similar to the regular season. So I don't know what good sticking him in a corner and not having him do anything is. But I think even in that role, he did pretty well for what he was given. He did make some good cuts and some dunks, hit some big threes towards the end of some games. But I'm not really sure. I think it's a bit unfair on him. So I think, he can have a really good season. And I'm still high on KP. Sometimes talent just needs the right circumstances to thrive. Maybe Kid can do that. So I'm definitely not giving up on KP. After the playoffs, I probably gave up on the whole team, like just get rid of all of them. But now that I've come back down, I think, I think, he's going to have a great season if he stays healthy. That's a big if for him. Also, nope. Matrix is a Vancouver Grizzlies fans. Okay. Do you support anyone now? He's sort of a neutral. I think it's so slack that teams relocate and then the fans just get left not rooting for anyone. So I don't know if you could even support another team after that. I know similar thing nearly happened to Toronto, but Vince Carter sort of saved them, I think, from relocating. So Bob Ross, KP is finally healthy. Completely agree. I think that's such a huge thing, when you're not trying to just rehab to where you were last season, but rather have time to improve upon where you were last season. I think that's a huge boost. I think that's something that gets understated. I know he's been injured a lot, so a lot of people want to write him off. But look what happened to Steph Curry early in his career. He was constantly injured. And then once he just got that momentum, started being healthy and consistently healthy, he took off. Now, I'm not expecting Porzingis to be Curry, but I just think that similar thing. If he can get that rhythm of consistently being healthy for some time, I think he's going to be a big boost for us. Knicks NBA champs this season from Jordan Gouveia. That's what happens when your friends join the live stream. He wants me to crack a smile for daddy. Look, love the support. Thanks, bud. But also, before I get too distracted, this is a prediction video of what the West will look like. So I do have Mavs finishing third. I think that's a lot better than a lot of people have. But I think, they do have a lot of good pieces, and I think that get understated because they had a below average offseason. They didn't add enough. But I think they definitely still have a lot of good players. We saw what Luka did for Slovenia. He puts up video game-like stats. So especially in the regular season, I think defenses are always a bit more relaxed. I think even if we don't get that secondary playmaker, we can do without it. But I think that's when in the playoffs it really matters. However, number 2 in the West, Phoenix Suns. They haven't gotten a lot better, but I think you just got to give them the respect because they made it to the finals. I am someone who's always like, look, did they get to the finals because they lucked with injuries? You know, in the Lakers series, Davis struggled with injuries. Nuggets, no Jamal Murray. Clippers, no Kawhi Leonard. I think that was a big for them. I think Clippers maybe would have edged them if Kawhi was healthy. However, look, you can't hate. You got to beat who's in front of you. You can't control health. And CP3 and Devin Booker turned into one of the best backcourts in the NBA. Both phenomenal players. I expect them to do very good things next season. Will Chris Paul continue to beat Father Time? That's questionable, but his game doesn't really rely on athleticism. So if he just stays healthy, I can see him doing very similar things next season. You know, someone just deadly in the mid-range, hit some threes, some floaters, get other people involved. As well as that, can Devin Booker and Aiden thrive next season, you know, take that next level after this disappointing loss in the postseason, especially after being up 2-0 in the finals. I think they could potentially be very hungry and be even better next season. So, last one. Don't even know why I'm doing a drum roll because there's only really one team left. I think Utah's going to come first. They're always a really good regular season team. They're very stacked, you know, Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bogdanovich, Royce O'Neal, Gobert, Clarkson, Ingles. They got Rudy Gay, Pascal for nothing. As well, they picked up Whiteside. So I think they're going to be very tough in the regular season. Can they do the same in the playoffs? I don't know if they have enough scorers, to be honest. Their defense is impeccable. If they're healthy, they're obviously going to be tough in the playoffs. But just for the regular season, I think they have too much talent, and they've been together for a lot. You know, Mitchell and Gobert, they have that chemistry as well. They've got a stacked bench, and I think they're just going to be too much for other teams in the playoffs. Sorry, in the regular season as well. I think when you got a good defense, it makes the game a lot easier. So I think they're going to come first in the West. There's the playoff predictions. So guys, if you haven't, you know, liked and subscribed, please do that. It really does help out the channel. Before I head off, if anyone's got some final comments, you know, let me know. We can have a little bit of a chat. But you know, I really do like doing these live streams. They're really fun. Get to interact with some of you. I'll also try and if you're not watching this live, put in the comment section your time zone, and I'll try and, you know, do these at different times so everyone has a chance to have a say, because I love interacting with you guys. It is really fun. And Bob Ross, Luka, and KP should put their differences behind them and focus on their chemistry. I hope they start training together in the off-season for a week or two just to strengthen their relationship. Yep, completely agree. I think as well, a bit of this relationship thing is just overrated in the media between them. I think they're just not best friends, and I think they just, you know, their personalities don't really get well together. But I don't know if there's really animosity between the two. I know, like, Stephen A. Smith was saying that Porzingis doesn't want Luka to do well and stuff like that, and there's jealousy. Maybe, I think during a regular season, there's always going to happen, you know, at times it's a long season. When you're together for so long, things go awry. But I don't think they really dislike each other. I think on the court, they definitely need to improve their chemistry, sort of find that 1-2 punch that we were hoping for. But yeah, you know, if they could train together in the off season as well, maybe Jason Kidd could be there, sort of be the person between the two, build that relationship. I think another guy that's really crucial for that is Boban. Maybe not going to make a huge impact on the court, but he's someone that off the court everyone loves. So maybe he can sort of, if there is any tension, I don't think there is, but if there is, he could maybe bring the peace between the two, have them start interacting more. But, you know, I think them training together regardless of if there's a dispute in their relationship, I think would be really big, just to continuously build that chemistry. You saw what Luka said. A big thing in Slovenia was their chemistry, and he wants to sort of bring that to Dallas. So, yeah, I think I'd love if they started training together. I think that'd be a huge plus. Wes Thorpe, sign Dennis Smith Jr., yes or no? As of right now, they don't have any roster spots available. If they do make some trades and open up a spot, I'd love to see Smith Jr. back. Even just for nostalgia, I loved him when he was here. And I know his career has gone down since he's left the Mavs, but sometimes being in a certain situation just brings the best out of you, and that could be the case for him in Dallas. Uh, he is still very young, It feels like he's been in the NBA for a while, but he's only about to turn 24. I think I'd definitely take him, especially on a vet min. You're not going to really get much more talent on a vet min and someone that's so young as well. And I know that people have been saying he's bad in the locker room, but after every time Mavs have played him, you always see Luka embrace him, other Mav players embrace him. So I think they do get along. There's no bad blood between them. Maybe it was between Carlisle, and so maybe Jason Kidd coming back could be a big boost for Dennis Smith Jr. Maybe could take him to the next level as well. And I think if we don't get Dragic, he is a really good option that's available. We do need another point guard, I think, that gets others involved. Is he the best playmaker? No. But for a vet min, are you going to get much better? I'd say probably not. So I'd definitely take Dennis Smith Jr. I think he's a really good player. He really improved defensively in Detroit as well. That was a big thing for him. So I think that's, I'd have no problem with him coming back. He's also shot 35% from three when he was in Detroit. So if he can come in and do that with his athleticism consistently, I think he'd be an absolute steal. But let me know, what do you think, Westhorpe? Do you think they should bring back Dennis Smith Jr., or are you not a fan? Also, Bob Ross. Bobby is the glue of the Mavs. I'm so happy he got resigned. Me too. I love Bobby. How can you not? He's so cool. Everyone loves him. I think he's someone that is really understated as well. Relationships are always good in the NBA to just boost morale. He never complains, always cheering other guys up. And I think that's a really understated thing. I think he's going to be a big boost. And, he's someone that can come on against certain teams and be a really big energy boost, bring a spark off the bench. Everyone saw in that Clippers series, he came in, started when Clippers went really small. And I think that threw the Clippers off. Initially, someone very good scorer. Luka and him have a very good connection as well. So offensively, Luka can just throw him some lobs. Boban, all he needs to do is put his hand up and catch it. No one else is getting close. So, yeah, I'm so happy Bobby signed, and it's 2 years as well, so we don't need to worry about it next season. So I think that's a huge boost as well. I really thank everyone that's been here so far. I've loved doing this. So I'll just come in and talk. Do you know what is preventing the Mavs from getting Laurie Markkanen? From what the reports I've seen, I have two things. He seems like he does want quite a bit of money. How will the Mavs make that work? They do have a $10.9 million trade exception. However, I don't think if he wants to sign that low. I think he was one of the players that really wanted to get a big contract this offseason, and the money just dried up too quickly. And I think also what I've seen is the Bulls do want a first-round pick in any sign-and trade. I know Mavs don't really prioritize the draft, but do you want to give up a first-round pick for Laurie Markkanen? Because you'll have to give up something else as well. Maybe the trade exception and the first-round pick if Laurie was willing to sign that cheap. As well, it's hard to know, what else could we really give them? Would they be interested in Dwight Powell and Trey Burke? I know a lot of people have been putting that out there, but do the Bulls really want Dwight Powell? Does Trey Burke really help them? They do have a lot of playmakers now with Lonzo and DeRozan. So I don't know, and Kobe White's still going to come back from injury. So I don't know what the Mavs could offer them. There are reports about Kleber, but even then, Kleber's only getting $8 million a year. So you'd have to put in more, and how much more would you be willing to put in with Kleber to make that work? I think Kleber off the bench can be a really good piece, and he was injured last season, so if he can come back to what Kleber was like before, really good defender, three-point shooter, I think that's always a really good trade piece, and I think giving up too much for Markkanen might hinder him in a later trade. As well, we don't really know what's happening with Goran Dragic. If any of the pieces going to Markkanen are also needed for Dragic. What do you prioritize at this moment? If it was me, honestly, I think I'd probably go with Markkanen and getting DSJ as opposed to just Dragic. I know Dragic is Slovenian and that would make Luka happy, but I think winning would also make Luka happy. Look, he loves to win. You saw how passionate he was about the Slovenian team. So, is Dragic really an upgrade over Markkanen and DSJ? I'd say probably not, Dragic also very injury prone, older in his career. Who's he really going to defend? I'm not sure if anyone saw DSJ last season, especially when he went to Detroit, sort of rejuvenated his career a bit. He started half his games, but he was very energetic on defense. He's athletic, can get up in people's face. And I think that would be a big bonus for the Mavs. So if it was one or the other, I'd probably go Markkanen and DSJ over Dragic. I know that wasn't your question, but I sort of just went on a rant. But Bob Ross, what would you offer for Markkanen? I'm keen to see because I know a lot of the pieces are around Powell. I don't have his trade value as high as others, but we'd have to see. Also, just got a few new viewers, so thanks for coming in, guys, as well. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been really fun so far. I've been going for 46 minutes just rambling. As well, if you're new, just comment. I love interacting with you guys. So, as well, check out for these after games, especially when the season starts. Just straight raw reactions. Hopefully not too bad because there's not too many Mavs losses. But yeah, that's also something to look out for. Dragic is only a short-term player. I prefer Laurie because of his age. 100% agree. 100% agree. I think Laurie as well, if we can rejuvenate him a little bit here in Dallas, I think he'd be a huge trade piece and someone we could package for a much better player as well, if needed, if that Porzingis and Laurie sort of don't fit together too well, but they're both performing. Maybe they're not winning enough games. I think, Dragic, yes, he'd be good for maybe 1-2 years. But after that, then what? In terms of Laurie, he's still young. He averaged 18 already in a season. So I think that's something you can't really, you can't look away from. So I think, I agree. I'd also definitely go with Lauri Markkanen. He also did say, a few months ago that he wanted to play for the Mavs. That talk has gone quiet now. I don't know if that's the same case, but I think anytime you got Luka and you're a player that's struggling, I think that's the perfect situation because you're instantly going to get better looks. You're probably going to play better. I wonder if he comes here maybe on a 1-year deal. I doubt he'd agree to that, but maybe sort of just try and play for a better contract next season. It's hard because a lot of this is just sort of guessing what people are thinking, sort of just journalist reporting stuff as well. We don't really know what he's interested in, what he wants money-wise. Does he want security because he's worried about niggling injuries throughout the season? Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I agree. I'd also definitely take Laurie. As well, guys, make sure to leave your comments. Been loving doing this so far. Might just have some water because I've been talking for too long. Also, for the next video, I'm thinking about just doing like an all-time Mavs roster. Hopefully, I can get some of you guys commenting, giving your predictions, telling me where I've gone wrong. Because I think with that video, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, especially with one player who's just my favorite player. So I'm definitely not going to leave him out of the top 5. So that's something I'm keen on doing. In the off-season, we don't have much to talk about. It's sort of just have some fun till the season starts. I have, really liked watching Summer League, though. A lot of people are really low about it because Mavs don't have any, amazing prospects as well. Their performance has been subpar. But look, I just love watching basketball. I think, Tyrell Terry shows glimpses of becoming something special. Right now, he's a bit too injury prone, but I definitely do like watching him. Isaiah Hunt, Mavs right now is built for a great regular season team. Yeah, I agreed. That's why, I did put them third in the West. I think they're going to do really good in the regular season. In the postseason, when teams' defense really intensifies, I think it's going to be a lot harder for Doncic to carry as well. If he's the only one, he's going to get tired late in games. And I think after a long regular season, it's going to be tough in the playoffs. But I think it also depends. Do they add another playmaker? I think that would really change a lot for the Mavs. Also, what KP we're going to see, if he comes in healthy and looking like the KP of old, blocking shots, making threes, catching oops, putting the ball on the floor and hitting pull-up jump shots. I think that's a huge thing we missed out on. He's sort of, I don't know if it's because of Carlisle or he wasn't just right, but he's someone with 7'3". He's got pretty good ball handling capability, and if he can, start making shots off the dribble, that really changes how defenses will guard him. So if they can really play up tight on him, maybe he can drive past people, find it a bit easier. So I think that's definitely something to look out for. But, I agree. I think right now the Mavs aren't really equipped like, say, a Lakers to make a crazy run. I think the West is, not as strong as it used to be. So I think, I wouldn't be surprised if Mavs make some noise in the playoffs. They were up 2-0 against the Clippers. Game 3, they really should have won. They had a huge lead, let it slip. So if they beat them, then do they beat an injury-riddled Jazz team? I think so. After that, can they beat the Suns? Honestly, I don't see much between the Mavs and the Suns. Suns could have maybe edged it out, but I think Mavs are pretty close to being up there. Got a few more comments. Isaiah Hunt, if KP can get back on the defensive end like he was 1920, that changes the Mavs ceiling. 100% agree. If he can start being an enforcer on defense, he's not a tough bruiser, so he's not someone that can really bang with like a Joel Embiid, but he's got a huge wingspan, athletic. If he can start blocking shots, second-guessing the other team to make some drives, I definitely agree. I think that would really elevate the Mavs, and I think that's what Mavs fans are really hoping for, sort of just hoping, find rhythm, stay injury-free. It's been a big if for a lot, but we hope that it happens, We've always got to stay optimistic, I guess, no matter how many times it disappoints you, but what else, it's got to be hopeful, I guess. Bob Ross, if KP plays 70 or more games, I think he can stay in rhythm going into the playoffs. I agree. I think if he can have a good regular season, carry that momentum. I don't know if he'll play 70. I think we will load manage him a bit. Sort of just, especially maybe early on, middle of the season, I don't expect him to play them too many games for too many minutes, especially if we get a Laurie Markkanen. That's why I'm really big on getting him. I think you can sort of load manage Porzingis a lot more, have him come in, be a very similar type of player. He's not the shot blocker that KP could potentially become if he returns back to form. But I think offensively, at least, you don't lose too much. You allow KP the flexibility to have some more rest, not get injured too much. And I think that's another great bonus for Markkanen. KG9669, another time, might have to block my friends from entering the live stream. Who's the best team in the league and why is it the Lakers? Let me just go back through my notes. You have Lakers finishing 6th. So don't know what you're going to say about that. I think 6th is being, just because you're here, I'm going to say it. I think they're going to come 15th. Don't at me. Matrix Burzins, because of Kawhi injury, Mavs at last, maybe we'll skip. Yeah, 100%. I think even with Kawhi, Mavs were right there. They were up 2-0. Third game, like I always say, they really blew it. They put their foot off the gas, as they say. So I think that's something that could really, that really hurt them. But I think, even if they had Kawhi, Mavs Clippers is a very winnable series. Didn't go that way last time, but I think if Kawhi wasn't there, then they'd definitely be able to beat them. So, but Warriors are back and have a lot of West Conference teams have stronger bench than Mavs. Yes, the Warriors are back. Like I said before, I don't know how Klay Thompson's going to be. I expect him to be a fantastic shooter still. You sort of don't lose that from injuries. But how will he be defensively? Uh, will he be able to still lock down players like he did before? Will he still be the same athletic Klay? He's had two severe injuries back to back. So, yeah, I do have them coming fourth. I think Warriors, can be something. They got some young talent as well. Wiggins is still a good player. But, yeah, I it really depends on Clay's health. They are expected to make a move as well, so might have to make another video after that. But they have a stronger bench than the Mavs. Yeah, I think Mavs have always been a really good bench team. I think Jalen Brunson, if he stays, I'm not always the biggest fan. I think sometimes his decision making is a bit subpar. And I personally like players that get others involved, especially if you're running the point and especially running the second unit. I think he doesn't do that well enough. But, offensively at least, I think he's really good. He was up there. Sorry, I've been talking for too long now. He's been up there in Sixth Man of the Year last year. So I think that already makes the bench really good as well. Maxi Kleber, I think he's a good bench player. Then you got Sterling Brown, who can come in, put some points up. So Mavs do have some bench players. I'd love it if they get Markkanen and DSJ. Then I think their their second unit could be really strong, especially if DSJ can return to his Mavs form. If not, can Tyrell Terry burst into that backup shooting guard role? I'm not too sure. He's a bit weak. His defense, I don't know how he'll be able to play at the NBA level. Very injury prone, so I don't think he can really crack that rotation, but maybe in the future. But I think the Mavs have some bench players, maybe not as great as other teams, but I think they'll have a decent bench as well. I expect Jason Kidd to mix and match, so I don't expect the whole second unit to play as one. I expect maybe Porzingis and Hardaway Jr. to have a lot of minutes with the bench rotation, or Luka, and and then have some of the bench players play with KP and Hardaway or Luka, depends on how he makes it. So I think the bench won't be that big of an issue if they don't improve, especially in the playoffs. You see the rotation cuts a lot. So I think you really only need 8-9 players. Do the Mavs have that? I think so. With Luka, Hardaway, Bullock, Finney-Smith, Porzingis, Brunson, Sterling Brown, Maxi. I think that's a pretty strong 8-man rotation as well. Can Moses Brown, do similar things he did in Oklahoma? I know it's a better team, so he's probably not going to get as many opportunities. But can he sort of be that lob threat, that sort of taller Dwight Powell that we need? Good shot blocker, had a 20-20 game. So, look, no, you can't be a scrub and do that. So he's definitely got some talent. I don't expect him to play too much because we also have about 5 centers. But I think, if he can crack that rotation, be the backup center, I think, we got a decent bench. But I think that is the one area of improvement still. Isaiah Hunt, if the Mavs trade Powell, Ty Terry, and Trey Burke to Chicago for Laurie, and the Raps buy out Dragic, that leaves one roster spot open for maybe DSJ. I agree. From all the reports so far, it doesn't look like Toronto is going to buy out Dragic. There hasn't been any reports about it. Everything that has been said is that they wouldn't do it, and they are asking for quite a bit if they do trade him. I don't know why. It doesn't really look like they need him. They sort of want to play their young guys. So, I hope they buy him out, but I don't see it happening. Powell, Ty Terry, and Trey Burke to Chicago for Laurie. Yeah, I'd definitely take that. Again, I don't know how other teams value Dwight Powell. He has regressed a lot. He's an undersized, not good defender, below average rebounder, not a good shot blocker, offensively very limited. He's a great locker room guy, but do people want to pay him $11 million for that? I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. I'd definitely take it from a Mavs perspective. Can't talk. Again, a Mavs perspective. And I think as well, he's one that could really, really strengthen the bench unit. I know a lot of people don't want him because what's his ceiling going to be? He's going to be a bench player. But I think, we saw what Bobby Portis did. Sometimes you need that player off the bench who can really bring in energy, especially if you're at home with the fans, can change a game. I think Markkanen, with his offensive capabilities, can do that. And looking at his defensive record, he's pretty underrated. I'm not a huge fan of defensive rating, but he did have an above average defensive rating. So is he as bad as advertised? I haven't seen enough to make sure, but I've seen some glimpses of him, switching out, staying in front of the opposing player. But I don't know if he does it enough. But yeah, look, I'd definitely take Laurie. If we can get Dragic and DSJ, I think there'll be a huge boost for the Mavs. Maybe slot Dragic into the starting lineup and have Dennis Smith Jr. coming in off the bench with Brunson as the two sort of combo guards. Yeah, I'd love that. As well, if Smith Jr. really takes off, can he fight for a starting place? I definitely think so. He's still got a lot of potential. If he can guard the opposing team point guard, which I don't think Dragic can do very well, if he can do that and hit 35% of threes like he did last season, I think DSJ would be a huge bonus. I'd definitely take him in a heartbeat, especially for a vet min. Looking at highlights don't say anything, but he still looks very athletic after a lot of injuries in Detroit. He seems, very composed on the ball now, plays the game much slower, which I think shows his maturity as well. So, I'd definitely take him. I think he'd be a really good bonus. Isaiah Hunt, Laurie still have a lot of potential to be a consistent 20 and 10 guy. He already has gotten close to those numbers in his first 2 seasons. Rebounding wise, I don't know if he's going to consistently start averaging 10 again. I think he doesn't really like banging down low that much, but I think he can definitely score 20. Even as a 6th man, I think he can be about 18 to 20 if he gets enough minutes, especially with KP load managing and him potentially starting some games. I think with Luka helping him out, he can really light it up. And like you said, he does have a lot of potential. People are being way too harsh on him way too quickly. I don't think the Bulls were the perfect franchise for him. And he had these, comparisons to Dirk straight away. So as soon as he hit 18 points a game, everyone thought he was going to be the second coming. And I think that's unfair. He has some similarities to Dirk in space the floor as a 7-footer. But I think people got to really lower their expectations. And, he can be a really good piece coming off the bench, maybe a spot starter at times. But yeah, definitely agree. He's only 23, 24, and Jason Kidd as well has been really good with young players. A lot of players in Milwaukee love the development and say he was crucial to their development, So, yeah, completely agree. I think Laurie could be a huge bonus. Also, we've had some new guys coming in. Please make sure to comment. Let's just talk Mavs basketball. If you want to talk basketball in general, I'm happy to do that. Make sure to, like and subscribe so you can see the upcoming live streams. Going to be trying to do this as often as possible. I love talking to you guys. Feels a lot more conversation-like than just the comment section alone. And I've been going on for an hour as well, so I thought this was going to be about a 10-minute video, but apparently I can't stop talking. So with that being said, if anyone's got some more comments, happy to talk. Otherwise, happy to let you guys go as well. Might just have some water because I need a break. Timo Mansell says hello. Sorry, I probably butchered that, but hey, how you doing? Love to have you here. Hopefully you can make it to some more live streams as well. Are you a Mavs fan by any chance? Who do you go for? I love hearing your guys' stories, who you go for, how you became a Mavs fan. If you're not a Mavs fan, what you think about them. I think if we can get some other opinions as well, that'd be really cool for what other teams think the Mavs are like. But I think as well, KG, what a pro. Thanks, brother. Appreciate the love. Definitely going to need you on one of these videos soon so we can talk trash about the Lakers. And yeah, Mavs all the way. Love, love, love. Bless you. You know, we need more Mavs fans. Love the Mavs fans. So hopefully the Mavs can all make us happy next season and beat the Lakers so that my friend Kevin can be annoyed. But if that's everything, I'm happy to head off. It's been an awesome live stream. Definitely will start doing this more often. If anyone's got some final comments. Oh, yep. Isaiah Hunt. People seem to forget Dirk really didn't have a dominant post game until around 06. So that's why I don't think it's fair to give KP and Laurie flake yet when they're still growing with a new coach. 100%. 100%. As well as that, I think it's hard to really develop a post game. I think a lot of people are sort of trying to come away from that. So I think when you're younger as well, you don't have as much time to work on it. There's a lot of people sort of play that space out, 5-out game. And I think that's really hurting the post game. So, yeah, I agree. As well, LeBron early on in his career didn't really have that post game. He's not a big man, but that was something that sort of hindered his rep at the time. Remember against the series against Mavs, really couldn't take advantage of smaller players guarding him. But yeah, I think KP and Laurie, even if they work together, I think that could be really good for both of them, taking them to the next level. Just, going up against each other every day in training. They're very similar builds, play styles. So I think they can both help each other make that next step. And I think they could just, practice for hours playing one-on-one, work on their post game. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, I agree. I think people are way too harsh on both of them. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty harsh on KP after the playoffs, but that was just my emotions, I was like, what's he doing? But the more, you analyze it, you realize he was just completely iced out of the offense. Does he deserve that? I don't think so, especially after he had 2 subpar games. But I think a lot of other players would be given chances to really shine after that, maybe even get more touches early on so that you could build that rhythm. And I think he never got that. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are really unfair on KP and Laurie. As well, Laurie has shown signs of, posting up smaller defenders at times. I haven't watched every Bulls game by no means, but from what I have seen, when he has mismatches, he does take advantage quite often. As well, probably some analytics guy's going to come in here and just blast me for that. But that's just what I've seen so far. I think as well, he's really good at putting the ball on the floor, and I think he's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. I think as soon as you're a European big man, you sort of get like typecasted as that. Whereas, Laurie moves pretty well laterally from what I've seen. Very athletic. Not very athletic, but he's athletic. So I think that's definitely been a big, big boost. Oh, looks like my laptop might die soon, so I still got 40 minutes. But yeah, I completely agree. Also, 9 Timo Mansell, if you're still here, what do you think of the off-season? I'm always keen to see Mavs fans' perspectives on the off-season. Some think it's been decent. Some completely hate it and think Cuban should leave. I think also the Cuban hate has been a bit too far. I think, I support other teams. I don't know if Jordan Gavay is still here, but support Arsenal. And they got the Cronkies, who also owns Denver. And I think he's such a toxic owner that anyone in comparison is like heaven. So, Cuban, I like him, he's passionate, he's enthusiastic, he comes to every game, he supports the team, you see he cares. So I think a bit of the hate's unwarranted. Cuban should stick to Shark Tank. And you should stick to, I'm not going to say. So, yeah, I think, yes, he says some stupid stuff at times, but, he's passionate. I think he's a fan as well. Even in the bubble or even during COVID, he still made it to every game. Isaiah Hunt, are you a part of Mavs Twitter? Lol. No. Is that because I'm backing up Cuban, or Cuban, if you're watching, I'm happy to work something out, but yeah, no, definitely not part of Mavs Twitter. I just have experience with worse owners, so I thought, that's a hot topic. I might as well just put my opinion out on that. And from what I've learned from this is I ramble way too much anyway, so tangents coming out of nowhere. But also, just going to probably wrap it up with that. Cuban, I think is all right. This video is mainly meant to be about the Western Conference predictions, but we got that done early, so it's been awesome talking to you guys. I love it as well. You should get on Twitter, bro. It's a fun place for Mavs fans. Okay. I will have to look into that. I don't have Twitter personally. I've sort of just never been bothered to make one. There's just too many social media things to make. Maybe you'll see me do some TikTok dances as well for the Mavs. Haven't made one yet, but, there's potential. But, okay. I'll definitely look into getting Twitter. It'll probably be MFFLtv if I do. But, yeah, okay. I'll definitely get into that. So if anyone else has any comments, happy to talk. But otherwise, thanks for all coming by. Make sure to hit the like button. See some of you coming in and out, so please make sure to like the video. It really does help out the channel. And subscribe as well if you're not subscribed. Both of those things are free, so it helps me out. It shows me that you guys really like these as well. Oh, there we go. Got a couple more likes. Thank you. Love that. Maybe I got to start plugging that more. Just be like, press the like button. Actually, I don't think that's where the like button is for you guys. That's what's for me. But make sure to comment if you haven't commented so far. I love to hear all your opinions as well. I'm thinking about maybe doing like a Mavs trivia-ish night with some of you, maybe on the weekend. Let me know if you're keen on that. Maybe, we can just have some drinks, talk some Mavs, have a Mavs quiz. Can't really offer anything at the moment, but, hey, if Cuban wants to sponsor the video, maybe he can give out some money. I'd probably have to take about 80% of it. But yeah, let me know if you guys are keen on that. That's an idea that I've had that I think would be really fun. Another way to interact. I am a personal trainer. If you want some free couple weeks PT, maybe that could be a prize for a quiz. But yeah, I think that's another good way to interact with you all. So thanks everyone for stopping by. Really loved it. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.